Have you ever thought how you can use Android Studio IDE to create an Android application? This session will answer this question by exploring Android Studio IDE and creating an Android application. Before creating the application, you will also learn how to set up Android Studio IDE and execute an application. Let's first discuss Android Studio and how to install Android Studio in your system. Android Studio is an IDE designed specifically for developing mobile applications for the Android platform. It can be freely downloaded from the internet. You can download Android Studio for Windows, Mac OS X, and Linux platforms. Android Studio provides different tools for developing and debugging Android applications and is based on JetBrains Java IDE called IntelliJ IDEA. Android Studio offers the following features. Android Studio is a Gradle-based build system that provides flexibility and dependency resolution. Android Studio provides a powerful code editor, which offers features such as code refactoring that enables the easy and quick transformation of the code throughout the entire project, smart editing that enables you to easily access and edit code, and analysis of code that helps in identifying the bugs in the applications easily and quickly. Android Studio contains some great drag-and-drop user interface (UI) features. It enables its developers to preview layouts on different device and platform versions. Android Studio enables your applications to directly access Google services, such as cloud-based backend with integrated Google Cloud Messaging (GCM). The IDE also provides a new plugin called ADT Translation Manager plugin that enables you to localize your applications. Android Studio provides a what you see is what you get WYSIWYG editor. This implies that the text and controls displayed on the screen during designing and editing of the UI is same as they may appear when displayed as an output to the user. Android Studio offers template-based wizards to create common designs and components for Android applications. The ProGuard tool optimizes and shrinks your code by eliminating unused codes and renaming classes and methods having ambiguous names. ProGuard is now available with the Android build system, because of which you need not explicitly invoke it manually. Let's discuss how to install Android Studio.
Please navigate to the directory where you have downloaded the particular file and start extracting it in the local directory. As you will see, it will create a directory called Android Studio Bundle, and all the components of the TGZ file which you had downloaded from the net will get downloaded and obviously extracted in that location. So let's look at what's available in that area. So when you click on the Android Studio, you will see several folders here. The binary folder will contain the Android Studio SH, which is what we need to run in order to run our Android environment. Remember, you need to ensure that it's an executable, which by default it should be, but in case not, you need to convert it accordingly. As you can see here, the Android Studio is now launching up. This is the platform that allows you to create Android application within the Android development platform. So click on New Project, and the instant you click on a new project, as you can see here, it will ask you for the application name. Remember what we use for PhoneGap? Similarly, it asks you for the application name. It will ask you for the company domain that you want to add. Remember, these are the elements that it adds up automatically at a later date when you are exporting the application to an APK file. So the application name being demo, and the company name is Rocks.example. In this screen, we need to select the device and the API level that we want our application to run at. So as you can see, we have selected that it has to run on the phone and tablet, and the minimum SDK we have selected as API 15. You could choose to run it for the latest one. Remember, this is the minimum API that we are talking about. Now, ideally, as you can see, even in the comments, if you reduce the API level, you can target more devices. At the same time, you will not get the features of the newer APIs. Now, that's the compromise, or that's the trade-off that one does when you develop the application. Once you've selected that, in this particular screen, you will select what kind of activity that you need to select. Now, typically, you could have selected it as a fragment, you could have selected it as a subset of an activity, or you could have selected it as a full screen. In our example, we are going to select it as a blank activity. So go ahead and select on the blank activity, name that activity. At a later date in advanced programming, you will realize that activities are elements that you can even link with the intents at a subsequent place. So that is one of the critical functions of what this activity does and what it can allow you to do on the Android platform. Anyway, once the new project has been created, you will see an element that gets opened up, and it will download any missing components that are required to do this development. So right now, at this point of time, it is going ahead and downloading a particular distribution that needs to be downloaded. Now that the download has got finished, it will explain this next steps that are happening, which is basically it will tell you welcome to Android Studio, and it will ask you to close, or it will ask you whether you want to close to tips on startup. This is the place where the Android Studio has got downloaded, and it has taken care of the deployment in your system. As you can see here, once we close on this, the activity_my.xml file gets opened up, and this is the starting point for us to do the next steps in the coming videos.
After installing the Android IDE in your system, let's create a project in Android System. The first time when you open Android Studio, a welcome screen is displayed. If you have created some projects using Android Studio, then these projects will be displayed in the Recent Projects pane. Select the New Project option to create a new Android project. The new project wizard appears. Enter application name, module name, and package name in the required fields. Keep the rest of the default values as it is and click the Next button. The next page of the new project wizard appears. Select the form factors and minimum SDK versions for each of the factors and click the Next button. The next page of the new project wizard appears. Every Android application consists at least one activity, as it is the basic building block of an application. Select an activity type for your project, or just select blank activity and click the Next button. The next page of the Create New Project wizard appears. Enter activity name in the required fields, keep the default layout name, and then click the Finish button to create the Android application. After learning about Android Studio IDE, you can now create a new project in Android Studio. For details on these elements, refer to your study material.